The darker presence of the intruder loomed larger in his mind. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that something was still amiss, that the battle was far from over. As the crowd began to disperse, he caught sight of Thompson slipping out the back door, an uncanny smile on his face that sent a chill down Marcus's spine. "Jenna, I have to follow him," Marcus said, urgency in his voice. "I need to know what he's up to." "What about the community?" she asked, concern etched on her face. "I'll be quick. I need to figure out what he's planning before he undermines everything we just achieved." He dashed out of the dealership, adrenaline coursing through him as he pursued Thompson into the dimly lit parking lot. The shadows stretched and danced, creating an unsettling atmosphere that seemed to mirror his own turmoil. As he turned the corner, he saw Thompson leaning against a car, speaking quietly to someone hidden in the darkness. Marcus instinctively crouched behind a nearby vehicle, straining to hear their conversation. The words were muffled, but he could catch snippets: influence, trust, and sabotage. Anger surged through him. Thompson was manipulating the situation, playing puppet master, and Marcus needed to confront him before it was too late. Gathering his courage, he stepped out from behind the car, confronting Thompson head-on. "What are you doing, Thompson?" he demanded, his voice low but firm. Thompson looked up, his expression unreadable. "Just keeping tabs, Marcus. The community deserves to know the truth about your plans for change. They won't fall for your lies forever." "I'm not lying," Marcus shot back, frustration boiling over. "We're trying to fix what's broken. You of all people should understand that. You've been part of this community too. Understand?" Thompson laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You think I'm trying to sabotage you? I'm trying to expose the truth. You don't deserve their trust, and I won't let you deceive them any longer." Before Marcus could respond, a voice broke through the tension. "What's going on here?" A security guard from the dealership approached, eyeing them warily. Thompson straightened up, adopting an air of innocence. "Just a friendly conversation about the dealership's future," he said smoothly, his demeanor shifting seamlessly. The guard narrowed his eyes, clearly unconvinced. "You should leave, Thompson. We don't need any trouble tonight." "Fine," Thompson said, shooting Marcus a last look that sent shivers down his spine. "But don't think this is over. You'll regret it." As Thompson walked away, Marcus felt the weight of the confrontation settle heavily on his shoulders. He turned to the security guard, trying to regain his composure. "I can't shake the feeling that he's behind the unrest. He's manipulating the community, sowing seeds of doubt." The guard nodded. "I'll keep an eye on him. Just be careful. The last thing we need is for this to escalate further." Marcus returned to the dealership, where the afterglow of the event still lingered. Jenna and Alex were discussing the feedback gathered from the community. "You're back," Jenna said, relief flooding her expression. "What happened?" "I confronted Thompson. He's trying to turn the community against us again." "I think he's the one stirring up trouble," Marcus explained, urgency in his voice. Alex frowned. "That's not good. We need to be prepared for anything." As the three of them strategized, they could sense a storm brewing outside, dark clouds gathering, echoing the turmoil they faced within. They devised a plan to counter Thompson's influence, preparing to fortify their relationships with the community, ensuring that their message was loud and clear. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as they intensified their outreach efforts. They organized more forums, engaged local leaders, and began implementing the changes discussed at the event. Each step forward felt like a small victory, but the lingering shadow of Thompson remained a constant threat. Rumors circulated, and the community's trust wavered once more. Then came the day of reckoning. A large town hall meeting was scheduled, and the stakes had never been higher. Marcus, Jenna, and Alex prepared diligently, crafting their message to reinforce their commitment to change and transparency. They knew Thompson would be there, lurking in the shadows, ready to strike. As the crowd filed into the hall, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Marcus took a deep breath, his heart racing as he stepped up to the podium. He scanned the audience, recognizing familiar faces from the community, those who had shared their frustrations and hopes. He had to make this count. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Marcus began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I know trust has been shattered, and I'm here to show you that we're taking steps to rebuild it. We want to earn your trust through action and accountability." The crowd murmured in response, a mix of skepticism and hope. As he outlined their plans, detailing the safety protocols, community initiatives, and their commitment to transparency, he felt a swell of determination. He needed them to see that they were not alone in this journey. But then, as he prepared to open the floor for questions, Thompson stood up at the back of the room, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Can you really be trusted?" he called out, his voice dripping with disdain. "You've proven time and again that you're more interested in saving your reputation than helping this community." The crowd turned, eyes filled with curiosity and doubt. Marcus felt the air thicken, the tension rising once more. "I understand your concerns, and I'm here to address them," he replied, fighting to maintain his composure. "Address them?" Thompson scoffed. "You think a few changes are going to erase the damage you've done? The community deserves to know the truth." "Enough," Jenna interjected, stepping forward. "This isn't about tearing each other down. We're here to build something better. Let's focus on solutions rather than dwelling on the past." But Thompson wouldn't back down. "You want solutions? Start by being honest about the real issues at this dealership. There are still things hidden from the public: corruption, negligence, things that have been swept under the rug." Marcus could feel the crowd shifting uneasily, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. This was it, the moment of truth, and he had to seize it. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice steady despite the storm brewing within. Thompson smirked, relishing the tension he had created. "You think the community is oblivious? They know. They've heard whispers. People who worked here, who left because they couldn't trust the leadership. You can't hide from the truth forever, Marcus." The crowd erupted into whispers, the tension escalating as uncertainty spread like wildfire. Marcus's mind raced as he tried to process the implications of Thompson's words. Was there really something more sinister at play? The urgency of the moment pressed down on him, and he knew he had to regain control. "Let's bring this out into the open," he said, his voice rising above the murmurs. "If there's a truth that needs to be addressed, let's do it right here, right now. I want to hear what you have to say, Thompson." The crowd quieted, eyes fixed on them, a palpable tension crackling in the air. Thompson was cornered, and Marcus could see the flicker of doubt in his eyes. "You're playing a dangerous game, Marcus. The truth isn't always pretty." "Then let's face it together," Marcus challenged, a sense of purpose igniting within him. "The only way forward is through honesty. If there are things that need to be addressed, we'll tackle them as a community." For a moment, Thompson hesitated, as if weighing his options. But then, with a sly smile, he took a step forward. "Very well. If we're going to talk about the truth, let's talk about the shady dealings that took place before you arrived. Do you think those who left this place quietly had nothing to say?" Marcus felt the weight of the accusation pressing down on him, the tension thickening like a storm cloud overhead. He had suspected that there were deeper issues, but hearing them laid bare felt like a personal attack. "Are you implying that I've been part of this corruption?" he asked, struggling to keep his voice steady. Thompson leaned in, his voice dripping with contempt. "I'm saying you're oblivious to what's happening under your nose. People have left this dealership, and they're talking about you, about the management, about everything." Marcus felt his heart race. He couldn't allow the narrative to spiral out of control. "If there are concerns, I urge those who feel they've been wrong to come forward. This is your chance to be heard." He turned to the crowd, his eyes searching for allies among the faces. "We're here to fix this, but we need to know what we're fixing." For a moment, silence hung in the air as people exchanged uncertain glances. Then, a woman in the front row stood up, her hands shaking. "I used to work here," she said, her voice trembling. "I left because I saw things that scared me. There were accidents that were covered up, and we were told not to speak out. We were silenced." Gasps echoed through the crowd, and Marcus felt his stomach drop. "What kind of accidents?" he pressed, determined to bring the truth into the light. "The kind that could have been avoided," the woman continued, her voice growing steadier. "The kind where safety protocols were ignored, and people got hurt. I couldn't stay silent any longer." Thompson's smirk faded as the crowd shifted, their focus now on the woman sharing her truth. "There's more where that came from," Thompson said, his voice low. "People are angry, and they deserve to know the truth about this place." Marcus knew he had to act quickly. "If there are safety concerns, we need to investigate them. I promise we'll address everything that has been hidden. No more secrets." The tension in the room began to shift as others stood up, sharing their experiences, voices rising in solidarity, echoing the woman's claims. The weight of their collective grievances bore down on Marcus, yet he felt a spark of hope ignite within him. The community was coming together, unearthing the truth, and he had to navigate this carefully. As the testimonies unfolded, Thompson grew increasingly agitated, his carefully crafted facade crumbling. It was as if he had underestimated the resilience of the community, the very people he had sought to manipulate. They were no longer just victims, they were warriors reclaiming their narrative. Just as Marcus began to feel the tide turning in their favor, Thompson's phone buzzed in his pocket, an insistent vibration that echoed the tension in the room. He pulled it out, glancing at the screen. The color drained from his face, and for a moment, his bravado faltered. He looked up, a flash of panic in his eyes. "This isn't over," he muttered under his breath. Before Marcus could react, Thompson turned and fled the room, the door slamming shut behind him. The abruptness of his departure left a vacuum, a breathless silence settling over the crowd as they processed what had just happened. "What just happened?" Jenna asked, her brows furrowed with concern. "I don't know," Marcus replied, uncertainty creeping in, "but I have a feeling he's not finished yet." As the evening wore on, Marcus continued to engage with the community, answering questions, providing reassurance, and reinforcing their commitment to transparency. Each shared experience felt like a piece of a larger puzzle, one they could finally start to solve together. But as they wrapped up the meeting, an unsettling thought lingered in Marcus's mind. The unexpected testimonies had brought a sense of empowerment to the community, but what would Thompson do next? He could feel the shadow of doubt creeping back in. That night, as Marcus lay in bed, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The testimonies, the community's resilience, and Thompson's departure played over and over in his mind. Had they really turned a corner, or was this merely the calm before the storm? As dawn broke, Marcus found himself restless, unable to shake the feeling that something significant was on the horizon. He grabbed his phone, checking for any messages from Jenna or Alex, hoping for a glimmer of reassurance. Instead, he found an alarming text from Jenna. "Marcus, I think you need to see this." With a racing heart, he met Jenna at the dealership, where the air was thick with tension. She was pacing, her expression a mix of worry and determination. "You won't believe what I found." "What is it?" he asked, trying to quell the rising anxiety in his chest. "I went to check on the security footage from last night, and there's something you need to see." They hurried to the back office, where Jenna pulled up the video feed from the previous evening's meeting. As they watched, the footage revealed Thompson lurking outside the building, whispering urgently into his phone, his demeanor frantic. "I'm telling you, they're onto something. We need to act fast before they figure it out," he said, his voice crackling through the speakers. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine as he watched. "Who is he talking to?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know, but it looks like he's trying to mobilize something," Jenna replied, her brow furrowed with concern. "I think he's planning to escalate this." A sinking feeling settled in Marcus's stomach as the implications dawned on him. "We need to warn the community. If he's plotting something, we can't let him catch them off guard." They gathered Alex and began devising a plan to address the situation head-on, determined to thwart whatever scheme Thompson was concocting. They couldn't let fear take hold again. They had to confront the truth together. As they strategized, a sense of urgency propelled them forward. They organized an emergency meeting, rallying the community and reinforcing the importance of unity. Marcus stood before them, his heart racing as he relayed the information they had uncovered. "Thompson is trying to undermine us," he stated firmly. "We need to be vigilant and support one another." As the crowd absorbed his words, a palpable energy coursed through the room, a mixture of fear and determination. "We won't let him divide us," a voice shouted from the back, igniting a wave of agreement among the crowd. In that moment, Marcus felt a surge of hope. The community was ready to fight back, to reclaim their narrative, and to ensure their safety. They worked together, forming committees, setting up safety measures, and creating an action plan to keep each other informed. But the feeling of unease lingered. The unknown loomed larger than ever, and Marcus knew that the true test of their resolve was yet to come. Days passed, filled with meetings, discussions, and a newfound sense of purpose. But in the back of Marcus's mind, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that Thompson was still plotting, still seeking to disrupt their progress. He had to keep his guard up. Then came the night that changed everything. As Marcus sat in his office, reviewing plans for the community initiative, a loud crash shattered the silence. His heart raced as he rushed to the source of the sound, finding the front window of the dealership shattered, glass scattered across the floor. Panic surged through him as he glanced outside, seeing shadows moving in the darkness. "Call the police," he shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Jenna and Alex rushed to his side, their faces pale with shock. The chaos outside escalated, and Marcus felt the weight of the situation bear down on him. "Stay back," he yelled, trying to maintain control amidst the chaos. The realization hit him like a freight train. This wasn't just a random act of vandalism. It was a calculated attack. Suddenly, Thompson emerged from the shadows, flanked by a group of people, their faces obscured by masks. "This is what happens when you threaten the truth," he shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "You think you can just sweep things under the rug?" Marcus's heart raced as he stepped forward, confronting Thompson. "You're the one causing this chaos. You're manipulating people to achieve your own ends." Thompson sneered. "Manipulating? I'm exposing the truth. You're the one who should be afraid." The crowd outside began to grow restless, voices rising in anger and confusion. Marcus knew they had to act fast. "We need to stand together. This is not how we resolve our issues," he shouted, trying to rally the crowd. But Thompson's group surged forward, shoving past Marcus and his friends. It was a sudden onslaught, the air thick with chaos. As the two sides clashed, Marcus felt a surge of fear and determination wash over him as he stood his ground, urging his community to remain united. Just as the conflict reached a boiling point, a loud siren pierced through the night. The police arrived, lights flashing as they surged into the fray, quickly assessing the situation. "Step back. Everyone, step back," an officer shouted, pushing through the chaos. In that moment of confusion, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. The presence of law enforcement could bring order to the chaos. He turned to Thompson, determination blazing in his eyes. "This isn't over, Thompson. We will expose the truth together, but not through violence." Thompson's expression darkened, a mix of anger and disbelief. "You think you've won? This is just the beginning." He turned and retreated into the night, leaving Marcus standing amidst chaos. As the police began to disperse the crowd, Marcus took a deep breath, the adrenaline slowly ebbing away. The chaos had been quelled, but the sense of urgency remained. They couldn't let Thompson's actions go unanswered. In the aftermath, Marcus gathered the community, their expressions a mix of fear and resolve. "This isn't over," he said, his voice steady. "We've faced adversity before, and we can do it again." Together, the community rallied behind him, fueled by a shared determination to confront the truth head-on. They organized meetings, workshops, and discussions to empower each other, vowing to stand firm against Thompson's manipulations. But just as they began to regain their footing, a new revelation came to light. Jenna approached Marcus, her expression grave. "I found something else," she said, her voice low. "What is it?" Marcus asked, the weight of impending news heavy in air. "Thompson isn't just trying to tear us apart. He's been reaching out to people in the community, trying to turn them against each other. He's using fear as a weapon," she explained, her eyes filled with determination. "We need to uncover his connections and expose them." Marcus felt a surge of urgency. They had to act fast. "Let's dig deeper. We need to know who he's been contacting and how he's orchestrating this chaos." As they delved into Thompson's dealings, they uncovered a network of individuals who'd been complicit in his schemes. They worked tirelessly to gather evidence, connect the dots, and reveal the truth to the community. But just when they thought they were gaining ground, a shocking twist turned everything upside down. Marcus received an anonymous tip, directing him to a secluded location. Curiosity and apprehension intertwined as he decided to investigate. Arriving at the site, he found a hidden warehouse, the dim lighting casting eerie shadows across the walls. Inside, he discovered a treasure trove of documents and evidence proof of Thompson's deceitful practices, corrupt dealings, and manipulation of the community. But amidst the documents, a familiar name caught his eye: Jenna. His heart raced as he realized she had been more involved in this than he had anticipated. Conflicted emotions swirled within him as he pieced together the puzzle. Confronting Jenna that evening, Marcus felt the weight of betrayal heavy in the air. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, his voice tinged with hurt. "I was trying to protect you," she replied, her voice strained. "I didn't want you to get dragged into this mess." "But you should have trusted me," he exclaimed, frustration boiling over. "We could have faced this together." Tears filled Jenna's eyes as she stepped back, hurt flashing across her face. "I thought I was doing what was best for you. I didn't want you to get hurt." As the tension hung between them, Marcus felt a deep sense of loss. They had fought so hard to reclaim their community, only to find themselves divided. The realization hit him: if they didn't address this fracture, they would risk losing everything they had built. In that moment, they both knew what needed to be done. They had to confront their own truths, navigate the complexities of their relationship, and find a way to move forward together. The community depended on it. As they began to mend the rift, they returned to their efforts, sharing the evidence they had gathered with the community. Together, they orchestrated a plan to expose Thompson and his accomplices, rallying the community for one final stand. The day of reckoning arrived, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Marcus stood before the community, Jenna at his side, ready to reveal the truth. "We've fought against manipulation and fear, and today, we reclaim our narrative," he declared. As he unveiled the evidence, the crowd erupted in shock, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and anger. Thompson's deceit was laid bare, and the community rallied together, determined to stand against the corruption that had plagued them. But just when it seemed like victory was within reach, Thompson re-emerged from the shadows. His demeanor calm, a sly smile gracing his lips. "You think you've won? This isn't over yet," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. The crowd gasped, uncertainty washing over them once more. "What do you mean?" Marcus demanded, stepping forward defiantly. "Let's just say, I have friends in high places." "You're barking up the wrong tree, Marcus," Thompson replied, his eyes gleaming with malice. "You have no idea what I'm capable of." Fear rippled through the crowd, but Marcus stood firm. "We won't back down. You may have tried to tear us apart, but we've come together stronger than ever." In that moment, as the tension crackled in air, a group of law enforcement officers stepped forward, their badges gleaming in the sunlight. "Thompson, you're under arrest for your role in this conspiracy," the lead officer declared, a determined glint in their eye. Thompson's expression shifted, the confident smirk faltering as he realized the tables had turned. The community erupted in cheers, a surge of relief washing over them as they witnessed Thompson being taken away in handcuffs. But just as Marcus began to breathe a sigh of relief, a chilling voice cut through the celebration. "You may have caught Thompson, but the real game has just begun." Everyone turned as a figure stepped forward, an unfamiliar face, exuding an aura of power and menace. "You've meddled in things you don't understand, Marcus," the figure continued, a sly smile playing on their lips. "You think you've won, but this is just the beginning." Panic surged through the crowd once more, uncertainty creeping in as the realization settled Thompson had been just a pawn in a much larger game. Marcus felt a knot tighten in his stomach as he exchanged worried glances with Jenna and Alex. The fight for their community had only just begun, and the shadows of manipulation and deceit loomed larger than ever. In that moment, Marcus understood the weight of the battle ahead, but he was determined to face it head-on. Together, they would unravel the layers of deception and reclaim their truth once and for all. ASA the crowd buzzed with confusion and anxiety at the unexpected appearance of the mysterious figure. Marcus felt the tension settle heavily in the air. He exchanged glances with Jenna and Alex, their faces mirroring the uncertainty that churned in his stomach. Who was this new player in the game, and what did they want? The figure stood confidently, arms crossed, surveying the crowd with a sly smile. Marcus noticed their tailored suit and polished demeanor, exuding a sense of power that sent a chill down his spine. "I am someone who believes in the bigger picture," they said, their voice smooth yet menacing. "Thompson was merely a tool, a means to an end. You've disrupted something far greater than you realize." The murmurs in crowd grew louder, a mix of fear and curiosity. Marcus took a step forward, his heart racing. "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" The figure leaned in slightly, as if sharing a secret. "Let's just say that in this world, chaos breeds opportunity. And I thrive on that chaos. Thompson had his role, but I have plans that extend far beyond this community." They gestured to the people gathered, a contemptuous smirk on their face. "You think you've won today? This is just the beginning of a much larger conflict." Fear rippled through the crowd, and Marcus sensed the panic beginning to take hold. He needed to keep his community united and focused. "We won't be intimidated by you or your threats. We're stronger together, and we're going to protect our community," he declared, his voice steady despite the rising tension. The figure laughed softly, shaking their head. "Strength? You think that's what it takes to survive? This isn't about strength. It's about influence, control, and understanding the game at play. And right now, you're merely pawns in a much larger chessboard." Jenna stepped forward, her voice firm. "We won't allow you to manipulate us any longer. We're aware of your tricks, and we won't fall for them." The figure's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, there was an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant sirens of police vehicles. The officers who had arrested Thompson were still present, their expressions serious as they took in the unfolding scene. "You think you have the upper hand," the figure continued, their voice a low hiss, "but you're too naive to understand what's truly at stake. My influence reaches far beyond your local disputes. You're nothing but a blip on the radar." Marcus felt a surge of defiance. "We may be small, but we have heart, unity, and the will to fight for what's right. We won't let you tear us apart." The figure studied him for a moment, then shrugged nonchalantly. "Enjoy your little victory, Marcus. But I assure you, this is only the beginning." With that, they turned sharply, disappearing into the crowd, leaving a ripple of unease in their wake. As the tension in the air began to dissipate, Marcus knew they couldn't let this go. They had exposed Thompson, but this new threat loomed larger than he had anticipated. "We need to come together and strategize," he told Jenna and Alex, urgency tinging his voice. "We can't let fear dictate our actions. We need a plan to counter whatever this person has in store for us." The community gathered again, their expressions a mix of determination and fear. Marcus stood at the forefront, addressing them. "Today, we took a significant step toward reclaiming our community from Thompson. But we face a new challenge, and we must remain vigilant and united. We have each other, and together we can navigate this uncertainty." The crowd nodded, murmurs of agreement echoing around him. They held hands, a gesture of solidarity that spoke louder than words. The power of their unity was palpable, and Marcus felt a sense of hope swell within him. "Let's organize a town hall meeting. We'll discuss our next steps and find ways to protect ourselves from further manipulation. We can't let anyone tear us apart again." Over the next few weeks, community rallied together, holding meetings to discuss the new threat. They brainstormed ideas, focusing on strengthening their bonds and creating a support network to prevent any further discord. Jenna and Alex took charge of organizing outreach programs, helping to build connections with residents and ensure everyone felt included and valued. As the community came together, Marcus began to see the fruits of their labor. They established a community watch group to monitor suspicious activities and launched a newsletter to keep everyone informed. The neighborhood pulsed with renewed energy, transforming their fear into a proactive force for good. But even as they fortified their defenses, whispers of the figure's presence continued to circulate. People shared rumors of strange occurrences, unexplained disappearances, and a sense of unease that lingered like a shadow. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that the figure was still lurking, waiting for the right moment to strike. One afternoon, While reviewing community plans with Jenna, Marcus decided they needed to dig deeper. "We can't just sit back and wait for something to happen. We need to understand who we're dealing with," he said, determination in his voice. Jenna nodded in agreement. "Let's investigate. We can look into any connections that might link back to this person. If they're as influential as they claim, there must be some records or leads we can follow." With a sense of purpose, they set off on their investigation, digging through public records, social media accounts, and any available information about the figure. As they worked late into the night, piecing together the puzzle, they uncovered a tangled web of connections that suggested the figure had ties to various local businesses and influential figures in the area. "What if they're trying to undermine our community from within?" Marcus mused, his brow furrowed in concentration. "They could be manipulating key players to destabilize everything we've built." "Then we need to act fast," Jenna replied. "We can't let this person divide us again. We should confront those in power, inform them about what we've discovered, and see if we can rally them to our side." Fueled by a sense of urgency, they organized a meeting with local business owners, community leaders, and representatives from various organizations. As they presented their findings, the room buzzed with concern. "This is more than just local politics," one business owner said, his face pale. "If this person is manipulating our community, it could have devastating effects on our businesses and relationships." "Exactly," Marcus replied. "But we have the power to fight back. We must unite against this threat, protect our community, and ensure that our voices are heard." The leaders discussed strategies to combat the figure's influence. They brainstormed initiatives that would promote transparency, foster open communication, and ensure everyone felt invested in their community's future. Together, they crafted a plan to launch a campaign that showcased the strength of their unity. Over the following weeks, the campaign took shape, with banners, flyers, and events that highlighted the community's resilience and commitment to standing together. Marcus felt a surge of hope as they received overwhelming support from residents who had once been fearful or uncertain. But just as they began to gain momentum, a chilling event shook the community. One evening, during a neighborhood gathering, a fire broke out at the community center, sending flames licking into the night sky. Panic ensued as people rushed to evacuate the building, and Marcus felt his heart drop as he watched the flames consume the space they had fought so hard to protect. In the aftermath, the community rallied together once again, but this time with a newfound determination. They organized fundraising events to rebuild the center, turning the tragedy into a symbol of their resilience. Marcus stood before the crowd, addressing their fears. "This fire may have damaged our space, but it will not extinguish our spirit. We will rise from the ashes, stronger than ever." As they worked tirelessly to rebuild, whispers began to circulate about the cause of the fire. Some speculated that it was an act of sabotage, a direct attack on their unity. Marcus felt a knot of dread settle in his stomach. If the figure was behind this, it meant they were willing to resort to violence to achieve their goals. Determined to uncover the truth, Marcus and Jenna dove deeper into their investigation. They spoke to witnesses, gathered evidence, and pieced together a timeline of events leading up to the fire. As they dug deeper, they stumbled upon a chilling connection. Someone had been seen near the community center just before fire broke out. "We need to alert the authorities," Jenna said, her voice tense. "If this is connected to the figure, they need to be held accountable." With the support of the community, they reported their findings to the police, who launched an investigation into the fire. Marcus felt a glimmer of hope as they learned that the police had already been monitoring suspicious activities in the area, particularly those linked to the mysterious figure. Days turned into weeks, and just as they began to rebuild, investigation took a turn. The police uncovered a trail of evidence linking the figure to a series of orchestrated events aimed at destabilizing the community. Marcus felt a surge of vindication as they shared news with their neighbors. "This person thought they could break us, but we're standing strong." But as the investigation continued, Marcus realized that the fight wasn't over yet. The figure remained elusive, slipping through the cracks as law enforcement pursued leads that often ended in dead ends. Marcus knew they couldn't let their guard down. They had to remain vigilant, ready to confront whatever came next. One evening, After a long day of rebuilding efforts, Marcus sat with Jenna at Community Center, surrounded by remnants of their past struggles and hope of new beginnings. "We've come so far, Jenna," he said, his voice reflective. "But I can't shake the feeling that this isn't over." "I know," she replied, her expression thoughtful. "But we've built a community that stands together. We're stronger than any one person's attempts to tear us apart. We just have to keep pushing forward." As they spoke, Marcus's phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from an unknown number. Intrigued and wary, he opened it to find a video clip. The footage was shaky, but clear enough to show figure standing outside Community Center, lurking in shadows. His heart raced as he watched the figure look directly into camera, a mocking grin on their face. "Is this what you call unity? Your little community will never stand a chance against me," the figure taunted before the video cut off. Marcus felt anger and determination swell within him. "We have to make this public," he declared, clenching his fists. "We need everyone to see who they're dealing with. This is the moment we expose their true colors." Together, Marcus and Jenna crafted a plan to share the video with the community. They organized an emergency meeting, bringing together everyone they could. As the crowd gathered, Marcus stood before them, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "We've faced threats before, but this one is different," he began, the urgency in his voice palpable. "This figure believes they can manipulate us, destroy our community from within. But today, we have proof of their intentions." With trembling hands, he played the video, the crowd watching in stunned silence as the figure mocked their unity. Gasps and murmurs filled the room, anger bubbling beneath the surface. Marcus took a deep breath, his voice steady. "We will not let this person dictate our future. We will confront them, expose their lies, and show them that we are stronger together." The room erupted in applause and shouts of agreement. Marcus felt a surge of hope as he realized they were ready to fight back. Together, they devised a plan to confront the figure publicly, to reclaim their narrative, and show that their community would not be easily broken. As the days passed, anticipation hung in the air. Marcus and Jenna worked tirelessly to rally support for their confrontation, spreading the word through social media and community outreach. People rallied behind them, eager to stand against the figure and reclaim their power. On the day of the confrontation, the community gathered in the heart of their town. Marcus stood on a makeshift stage, flanked by Jenna and Alex, their faces lit with determination. The atmosphere was electric, a mix of fear and excitement as they prepared to face their adversary. As the clock ticked closer to the appointed hour, the crowd began to swell, a sea of faces united in their fight. Marcus could feel the energy radiating from them, a palpable force of unity that bolstered his resolve. Then, just as the tension reached its peak, the figure emerged from the shadows, their confident stride commanding attention. They looked out at the crowd, a smirk playing on their lips. "You think you can stop me? This is adorable," they said, their voice dripping with condescension. Marcus stepped forward, the crowd parting to give him space. "You underestimate us," he declared, his voice ringing clear. "We are not afraid of you anymore. Your manipulation has only strengthened our resolve." The figure's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of annoyance crossing their face. "You're all just pawns in a game you can't comprehend. I hold the power here, not you." But the crowd erupted in shouts of defiance, drowning out the figure's words. Marcus felt a surge of confidence as he raised his hand, calling for silence. "We are not pawns. We are a community, united and stronger than you could ever imagine." With that, he turned to Jenna and Alex, who stood beside him, their expressions fierce. Together, they confronted the figure, demanding accountability for their actions and a cessation of their manipulative tactics. "You've caused enough harm," Jenna added, her voice unwavering. "We refuse to let you control our narrative any longer. We will stand together, fight for our community, and protect each other." The figure's facade began to crack as they faced the resolute crowd. "You think you can win? This is just the beginning." But Marcus felt a wave of determination wash over him. "No more games. We're done with your chaos. We're taking back our community." As the confrontation unfolded, the crowd erupted into chants of solidarity, their voices a powerful force against the figure's manipulation. Marcus could see the change in the air, a palpable shift that radiated strength and unity. In that moment, he realized that they had not only confronted the figure, but they had also reclaimed their narrative. The power dynamic had shifted, and they stood as a united front, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the crowd continued to chant, Marcus felt a profound sense of hope wash over him. They had come together as a community, and no one could take that away from them. They had faced darkness, and together, they had chosen to stand in the light. In the following weeks, the community continued to strengthen their bonds, building a network of support that thrived on collaboration and shared values. The figure, sensing their resilience, began to retreat into the shadows, their influence waning as the community flourished. Marcus, Jenna, and Alex worked tirelessly to ensure that their community remained united and informed. Marcus stood outside the newly rebuilt community center, reflecting on how far they had come since overcoming the figure's manipulations. The center, now a symbol of resilience, bustled with life, hosting events and workshops that celebrated unity. The community had grown stronger, united by shared purpose, and Marcus, Jenna, and Alex, the heart of the transformation, knew their efforts had been worth it. The idea of a community festival took shape, a celebration of their journey and strength. As Festival Day arrived, the neighborhood buzzed with excitement, colorful decorations, booths showcasing local talent, and performances filled the center. Marcus addressed the crowd, expressing gratitude for their resilience, and the day unfolded with music, laughter, and joy. It was a testament to the unity and determination they had fostered. In the months that followed, the community continued to thrive. Programs were developed, local businesses were supported, and new families brought fresh energy. The figure's dark influence faded, and the community emerged as a beacon of strength and collaboration. As Marcus looked over the vibrant neighborhood, he realized they were more than just neighbors, they were a family, bound by the struggles they had faced and the victories they had achieved. The future looked bright, and their story, once filled with challenges, had become a celebration of unity, resilience, and the power of community. In the end, it wasn't about defeating a single figure, but about building a lasting legacy, one defined by love, strength, and the enduring bonds they had created. Marcus smiled, knowing their journey was just beginning, and the community they had forged would continue to inspire for generations to come.